So I'd like to talk about some of the Google search strategies that I have, and I am uh, going to reference some information I found from an article that was specifically talking about Google searches with math. Some of the strategies that were talked about in the article and discussed were making sure that students start with searching a general topic about math or whatever subject, but maybe using the title of the chapter or the section title or the unit. Using those terms can help isolate searches to specific math content rather than just saying search for math. Search for specific things like graphing lines. Next, make sure you're actually spending time with the Google search and not simply just looking at the first two results. Make sure that students look at maybe the first 2 pages, 3 pages before they move on to another Google search. Next, make sure they use correct spelling. This is a specific importance, especially with math language, as math tends to use symbols and have certain syntax that may be hard to type in a Google search, like exponents or equal signs or not equal signs. Knowing how to type those Google searches in is very important, along with correct spelling. When looking for tips to find specific math questions, make sure students understand and remind themselves of what key concepts they are looking for. Are they looking to solve an equation, find a solution, or find, let's say, a zero of a function? All those need to be specified in the Google search, and especially if trying to solve a specific question. Make sure the search is not too long. Some students like to type the entire set of directions, and the Google search gets confused because a lot of the words that are in that question may lead to unimportant results. On that same line, there's a thing that I like to tell my students about of quotation marks, which uses the exact case and strictly looks at the words in that order inside the quotation marks. And sometimes I have students do that with word problems as they type it in. But again, don't make sure the Google search isn't too long, or again, you might get either no results or results you don't want to find. On the same line, there's also things to avoid. Make sure to avoid any reference to any grade level or specific title of a class that may be unique to your school. For example, we have levels of academic, accelerated, and honors, but other schools have on-level, grade level, track 1, 2, and 3, or standard, and using those may confuse the result, as other schools may not follow the same pattern. Make sure you are not typing the entire math question. I mentioned that before, because otherwise that would involve words that you might not need to put in. Make sure when you are typing in your question that the result and looking at the results that to avoid any languages that are not English, as some of those websites, although can be translated by Google, may be suspicious and have harmful messages or malware embedded in. Make sure that students in the end are flexible. Make sure they're not just giving up after looking at 1 page or 2 pages, but that they really take the time to research the topic and not just give up or only use one source. Maybe the first one they look at isn't good, so they should continue to move on.